Peace and love, family. It's your Minister Sanders. You're listening to Chatters That Matter. Shout out to Dr. BryantBruce. Y'all want to tune in, like, share, and subscribe. The show is impactful, it's powerful. You will learn something at the same time you will grow, whether it be spiritually, mentally, or physically. You won't regret it.
Hey, you know me. It's Dr. Cheryl BryantBruce MD. Chatters That Matters. I am the celebrity doc, and we are here to educate, entertain, and inform you. Chatters That Matter. Let's talk about it. I am here in Las Vegas, Nevada during Super Bowl week. I am here for Media Week. And so one of the things I have been doing is talking with the local significant contributors to the community. And today I am bringing to you a man who is very much involved in the community, who is well known throughout the Las Vegas community and definitely loved within the African American community. I have with me today Minister Stretch Sanders.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Minister.
Thank you. Bless you. Happy to be here.
And I was wondering why he was called Stretch Sanders. And if, when this tall drink of water stands up, he is actually 6'10". So he is a stretch limousine, and that is why he's called Stretch Sanders.
A little above average.
Yeah, just a little bit above average. So, Minister Sanders, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us your background, because you've been at this for more than a minute. So tell me how you got started in community activism and how you got to where you are today.
So my personal background is I'm originally from Chicago. I was raised by a single mother. I have a twin brother and an older sister. And I have 3 brothers and a sister on my father's side. One of my brothers is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up, where my mom was always just hustle and bustle, with always trying to provide a good life. It got to the point where my brother started to really attract to street life. And so my mother wanted to disrupt that pattern. So she moved us, my twin and I, and herself, to Las Vegas, March 7, 2011.
Okay.
We entered Las Vegas High School, graduated. I went off to college. While I was away at school, I'm seeing what's happening in Ferguson with Mike Brown and just so many social things that a lot of college kids at the time was really just, we wasn't intentionally ignoring, but it wasn't right in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started to pay attention, I was compelled. I felt almost as if I was doing the world a disservice, by not getting involved. And so that summer, I ended up ironically dedicating myself back to God, and I became a Christian. And then a few months later, I became minister. And then a few months later, I got involved in activism. So it all kind of happened all in that 2014 year. And then that same year, I started my first organization. It was called All Shades United.
Okay.
That group was a revolutionary solidarity organization, all the races fighting, against white supremacy and fighting against oppression. After doing that for many years, my philosophy started to shift, where I still believe in allyship. I still believe in us working with different ethnic groups, but I became more passionate to focus more so on just highlighting our issues only.
Right.
And so I ended up starting a group called New Era Las Vegas. That's a part of an international network called New Era Nation.
Okay.
So I brought the chapter to Las Vegas. Excuse me, did that for a few years and just had to take some time away from that organization and focus more so on my own nonprofit that I had since 2020 called Stretch for Change Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
This Stretch for Change Foundation. Mm-hmm. And so since 2014 all the way to now, my mission has been the same: to fight for Black people, to fight for oppressed communities, to give us a voice. Las Vegas typically doesn't give the international audience the perception that we have freedom fighting here and activists here, or even the need to fight for these issues, but we do. And it's been historically, Black people have been in this community since the early 1500s, and we've always had, Black organizations, fighting for our interests.
Is it fair for me to say that Las Vegas doesn't really give the impression that there is a Black community here?
Correct.
Because I did not realize how large the African American community was here.
And the African American community here has always not been the largest, but it's always been, to me, effective. Black people started migrating here as early as like 1912, and they created an organization here called the Organization of Colored Folk. Mm-hmm. And you have the Organization of Colored Citizen Protection Council. Mm-hmm. And then the NAACP started here in 1928. So you always had different Black organizations and different prominent Black individuals, but it was always small.
Right.
And sometimes we measure success off size.
Right.
So if it's not a million people doing it, we think it's ineffective, but that's not the case. So Vegas is the definition in terms of our community. We're small, but we're mighty. And so there is indeed a Black community here. And it bothers me, people say things like Vegas doesn't have any culture and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop saying that, because my thing is, if you feel that way, then what do you do? So I don't do a lot of this. I don't like talkers. I'm a doer. So I saw 10 years ago there was a need for the type of activism I brought to the table. You know, I've addressed stores selling bad meat type people. I'll block traffic, to make a statement. I've been arrested, protested, you name it, I've done it.
Yeah.
And I did that to raise awareness, but to also show you don't just disrespect our people and get away with it. And me being a minister, people, again, the minister is not just a nickname, it's a real title that I earned. And I'm very serious about that title, because a lot of times our preachers and ministers only focus on the four walls. But I believe that you can't hear a good word in an empty stomach. You dig what I'm saying? So you have to go out to get the people, inspire them, educate them, empower them. And then now they may be more interested to hear about what you're trying to kick to them, but you got to deal with the entire man. Dr. King, who's my hero, said it's okay to talk about, streets paved with honey. What about the kids here in America on Earth that can't eat 3 times a day? Exactly. So we can talk about the by and by. What about the now and now? So that's my focus. I look forward to the by and by. But we got to deal with the here and here. Exactly. And that's pretty much my mission.
People do talk about the Black community not being healthy, but at the same time, you can't have a healthy community if you haven't met the basic needs of the people.
Correct. And it's important we understand why aren't we healthy, right? We didn't just come out the thin blue sky not being healthy. At the time, we were healthy. We were spiritually healthy. We were economically healthy. We were mentally healthy. We were physically healthy. But when white folks did the number they done on us, then that robbed us by knowledge of self, culture, God. Everything was stripped from us. And so even we look at our diet, right? We refer to as soul food. Right. And a lot of the way we cook it, it's not soul food, it's death food. Yes. I love soul food, but I have to be mindful of the way who makes it, the way it's made, things like that, because I understand that my health is my wealth. Exactly. So they tell us soul food, but then you look at the numbers that our leading cause of death is heart disease in our community. And hypertension, diabetes, high blood pressure. And then we say things like it's in the family. No, it's not in the family. Your bad eating is in your family. And that's what's being passed down. But all that stems from social issues. It stems from slavery. The slave masters ate good. They gave us what we made into chitlins and bacon and things like that. So I believe in even for us to have the health conversation, we have to first look at who made us unhealthy. That's right. And it's not playing the blame game, but it's acknowledging for every action there's a reaction. You don't put us in chains for 400 years and think that trauma, that abuse, those triggers are not going to be passed down to future generations. We have to be acknowledging that it is unhealthy. I mean, their intent wasn't to make us healthy. Their intent was to make us able to work out in those fields. Correct. So, they weren't trying to get you to be healthy. Their interest in your thriving was only in you being physical labor. Correct. But and we can be honest, those who did the oppression to us, they wasn't healthy.
Exactly.
Right. So a lot of things we model from them, a lot of our standards of beauty and different things we model from the European communities is unhealthy. And we think that we have to look like them. And historically, we've always, farming comes from Africa. We give it to America credit, but we come from eating vegetables and fruit and growing our own gardens. And our ancestors brought that over to, this Western world. But we give America credit for farming. It's like, no, farming comes from Africa. And again, okra and candy yams, all these different things that can be healthy also comes from Africa. So, the examples that they gave us wasn't the best examples. We've been following those examples since the beginning of time. Right. And then when we talk about soul food, I mean, if you're going to take it back there, when we talk about soul food, what we define as soul food here is not the soul food that we brought from Africa. Africa doesn't cook the way we do. They're heavily salted and the unhealthy preparation of the food. Yeah, I would add to, I would build on that and say, like, I think the food was the same, because okra comes from Africa, but the way we made it was different. And that's a clear distinction, right?
Yes.
And that's gonna produce a different result. If I
Exactly.
do it the exact same way, I'm gonna get the exact same results. If I do it this way, I'm gonna get those results.
Exactly.
And as you said, to your point, we were profiting with commodity. As long as we was healthy enough to walk, talk, move our arms and limbs, then they really much didn't care. And I was victim to that. I haven't ate pork in almost 8 years.
Right.
I just started back eating land animals, so I've been
And
very
you feel better from not having eaten the pork and from having made the dietary change.
It's been so long to know
I can't remember what it felt like to be unhealthy.
So I can't say I do, but I know I feel good about my decision.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong now. Every once in a while, I'll be dreaming like, oh my God, chitlin sandwich would be so good right now. Or pork chop sandwich from Maxwell's from Chicago.
I can't.
But when I remember what the pig has done and what the pig represents, I'm like, I'll be cool. But yeah, I stopped eating everything besides seafood up until last year. I went three years just eating seafood.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say that one of the things I did see that was a difference was my bowel movement.
Yes.
That changed. And I was going to the bathroom a lot, and I was like, "What is going on?" My body was trying to flush and detox and cleansing itself. So there definitely are some benefits to it. I try to encourage our community, because we like a lot of times those of us who get hip to consciousness, we become very judgmental.
Yes.
And we forget the fact that we used to eat chitlin. That's why I try to be real. Like even me being this health conscious, I think about having chitlin withdrawals. I'm not above that, right? Because we think, and that may not be your journey, but some of us forget, where we come from. And like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, clean glass, dirty glass. I ain't got to judge your behavior. If you had met the stress 10 years ago, I was sagging, I used profanity, I was disrespectful to women. I didn't come out the dim blue air dressed like this as a preacher.
Right.
But when I got the right knowledge in my head, right, I didn't have to be told to pull my pants up. The knowledge made me feel, I felt uncomfortable.
Yes.
Sagging. I dress like this. This is me every day. This is not because I'm in an interview. This is my everyday get up. Right. If I went to the Super Bowl, I'm just like this. Church, just like this. Yeah. Because that's my comfort zone. Uh-huh. But the knowledge that I got, which was rooted in knowledge of self, it gave me love of self. Yes. And so now I'm in love of self. I want to look my best, be my best, feel my best. And so I didn't have to be told to pull my pants up. I pulled my own pants up. Yes. And even when it comes to diet and nutrition, our people can't be chastised. We're not gonna receive that. It has to be told, here are better ways. But I have an aunt who's also very health conscious. Mm-hmm. And sometimes she'd be like, "Yeah, I eat that." I was like, "Auntie, you gotta slow down." Some people will take that offensively, and they'll make them more rebellious to it. Right. And make our own personal choice. People got agency, but we have to find better ways to land the plane.
Yeah, because that's just kind of a human response. Mm-hmm. You push, I'm going to push back. You might be right, but it's how you deliver the information. And if you deliver the information so that it feels like I'm being disrespected, and especially in light of a community that disrespects us on a regular basis, we're always fighting for that respect. You present the information in a way that feels like I'm being disrespected. What am I going to do? I am going to push back. So our goal has to be to educate and inform and allow grown folks to make grown folks decisions and to inform them of what the consequences of those decisions are, so that if grown folks make bad decisions, well, then they, suffer the repercussions of the bad decision. But it is a decision, not something that was forced upon them. Would you agree that as a whole, in general, our communities are very uninformed about health and wellness, and about a lot of the basic core things that we're fighting for to get our basic needs met? We know what we want, but we don't know how to get it, and sometimes we don't even realize or understand what it is that we're lacking. And a lot of times, some of the things that we're lacking, because we've been lacking them for so long, we perceive them as non-us. Those are the things of the majority or somebody else's culture. How many times do you hear things like, Black people don't swim? It's healthy for everybody to know how to swim, because you never know what circumstances you may be in. All of those folks that were down there in New Orleans when it went under, folks out there needed to know how to swim if they were gonna make it. A lot of people died unnecessarily because they did not know how to swim. When the lifeboat comes by and they say swim to the boat and you can't swim,
You're in trouble.
you do.
That's me.
Yeah.
I've been like, listen, give me that ram, Jack. Send me a rope. I'll be on that, like on Titanic, hanging on a piece of that wood.
That's right.
But so to your question, I think it's half and half. I think a lot of us are informed. A lot of us are not informed.
Mhm.
But there are some of us who are informed and just not ready.
Yes.
Again,
yes.
I'm
you have to be ready.
I'm gonna be the first to put myself out there.
Mhm.
A lot of things I eat, I know I shouldn't be eating.
Mm.
I ate McDonald's today. I know I shouldn't have no McDonald's. But it was like we went to the lake and McDonald's. So sometimes, we make excuses and we do what we do. But in the end, I'm like, okay, you know what? Just try to do that. Trying to make it a habit, but I also don't drink. I never drink alcohol. I've never smoked weed, anything like that. And so I know my health is not as bad as the average bear because I've been pretty much, those are two main leading causes of a lot of issues. And since I stopped eating meat when I returned back to it, I don't have the same desire. So we still find ourselves eating meals.
Yeah, we were talking about that in our house
that don't have
today.
meat in it.
Talking about the pork and how, the pork, the salt, those things are acquired taste. If you give those things to babies, the babies will reject them because they are, they're strong flavors and they're acquired taste. So we learn to eat that pork. But then when you decide to eat a clean diet, to pull yourself off of the pork, and you go back to it, you taste that rancidness.
And my daughter, too, she's never had pork,
Uh-huh.
because I don't eat it. I influenced my wife, so she stopped eating it. But you have to be ready. And then too, those of us again who are in consciousness, those of us who are in health and wellness, we got to start also appealing to the audience in a way where it's like our people do things that's sexy, sex appeal, that's fly and things. And sometimes it just doesn't seem the most like to have a vegan diet. And then we also stereotype that if you have that diet, you got the earthy look, and you may have locks in the head wrap, and your name is Raheem Shabazz, and that ain't everybody see that. Right. So we have to appeal to how do we draw this brother that feels like if he does this behavior, he doesn't have to change his core.
Exactly.
So there's religion. A lot of people don't want to get into, a lot of people I spoke with didn't want to join what I joined because they felt it had to change. That's why I call myself, opposed to being Minister Vance, I call myself Minister Stretch. Because I'm trying to appeal to young people. I'm young. Right. When I get 50, I can be Reverend Vance Sanders or, do the initial thing. But right now, I'm trying to appeal. I still got homies that gangbang. I still got homies that sell dope. I got homegirls that prostitute. Like, I'm a real one. I'm not out here trying to be something I'm not. So again, but I'm trying to draw them. I'm trying to pull those individuals into a better behavior. And I don't believe in meeting them where they are in terms of me tucking my morals. I ain't doing that. Right. But you do meet them where they are. Where they lie. Exactly. And I go and I meet them with who I am where they are. Exactly. And try to pull them higher. Exactly. But I try to show them, man, it's fly eating good. It's fly thinking well. I read more books by anybody I know. It's don't read books. Like, now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because that's kind of a pet peeve for me right now. We have a lot of people out there who have made a lot of money. I mean, in our communities, who have made a lot of money, rappers, this, that, and the other thing. And they have made it from entrepreneurial endeavors, which I'm all for. I'm an entrepreneur and, I'm all for that, particularly for us because it gives us control. But at the same time, it is a serious pet peeve for me for them to say, oh, you don't need an education. An education, going to school is not just about what's in the books. I think you learn more going to school by the environment that you're in, the exchange of information, the exchange of ideas, than you ever learn from what's in the books. I mean, as far as what's in the books, you can sit at home and read all day and extract what's out of the books. That's right. School is a social learning situation. Absolutely. And so I really have issue with us saying, well, don't go to school, do it this way. You're going to be you could be an entrepreneur, go to school. That's right. I mean, yes, you're an entrepreneur, but the fact that you have gone to school has broadened
your horizons. It's giving you the ability to talk to people from all different walks of life and express yourself well and understand what you're talking about. You know, we try and insert ourselves into other people's business coming from our own cultural perspective and never having been exposed to theirs. You know, when you go to school, you're exposed to all kinds of different cultures. And then you have more to draw upon as you're making your opinions and decisions in life. I don't know about for anybody else, but I know for me, when I went off to college, I got exposed to things, you know, I was taught a certain way at home and it seemed like it was working and it seemed like the best way at the time for me, but then I got exposed to other things other people were doing. And it's like, oh, well, maybe there are better ways to do X, Y, or Z than the way that I am doing. You know, you've never seen it done that way before, though it's not even in your realm of recognition. So, I mean, I think that it's important that we don't throw rocks at school. And I think that it's important with others like you to talk about. I read.
Oh, yeah, I love it. And I'm so sorry.
No.
And so, okay, thank you. Something that I'm big on reading because books, it's a shirt that I saw this, books changed my life. And books changed my life, you know, but you gotta find your niche.
Yeah. Yes.
My family, like my sister reads, my grandmother reads, they read books like The Woman at the Well, like novels. I'm not even gonna walk past a book like that. If it ain't a true story, I ain't reading. I want to read books about the Pullman Report. I want to read books about the Great Migration. I want to read books about Malcolm X, Dr. King. Like, I read true events, but that's my niche. Like, my background is African American studies. So I'm going to read books that's going to teach us about our culture. And so when I talk and do different interviews, I can always share some like history facts and tidbits. But I used to be that guy that felt like, even though I went to college, I never really went to school with the intention to try to come home and try to find a job.
Right.
I went to school to extract the principles from it and really create me a job.
Right.
But when people say things like, "Oh, I'm not book smart," or you realize, especially our community, you do realize like we created math, we created science, despite what you've been told.
Absolutely.
We created books.
Absolutely.
So, and another thing nobody will say, but I'll say it. Going to college, it may not guarantee, because, you know, we have people who are in trades and they're just as successful. But college, I will say, you have a better chance of being on a trajectory to be successful going to school than not.
You do.
And that's just a fact. You know, now with all the knowledge I've had several jobs that would turn me down because they were, you don't have a degree.
Right.
Right. So, and we know that's their choice to make, but still. Right. So, and I look at my wife when she had has an MBA and a master's, and I'm looking at the success, even when she would go for certain jobs that wouldn't take her because she don't have a doctorate yet.
Yeah. So then it is a discriminator. And, you know, my ex-husband, he was in the military and he was doing all sorts of great things as a pilot, but he didn't punch his tickets before he came out. And he was under the mistaken impression, because there are so few Black pilots, that, well, I'm going to come out and, you know, they're going to want me because I am a Black pilot. And, you know, I'm a pilot, so I don't have to do all of this. But the first thing they ask when you come out is, did you punch your tickets? Where's your paper? You know, it's a ticket that we have to punch. And for me, I am all for my HBCUs. Love my HBCUs, and I think they serve a strong purpose. At the time when I was coming through a million years ago, I'm coming into medical school and I made two decisions. I was looking at being a PA, and I was like, I can't do that. I've got to go all the way to the top. I was looking at osteopathic school because I liked the integrative approach that they had. But the thing I understood, it was a new thing and it wasn't as well respected. And I thought about that. I'm like, I am getting ready to step into a field that is generally, it's a bastion of white males. And so if I am going to compete or, you know, even be accepted and recognized, I'm going to have to punch all of the tickets, which means I can't be a DO. I have to be an MD because that's where they place the respect. I have to have that paper. as much as I want the HBCU experience, I can't go to an HBCU because that is not where I'm competing. I have to compete in their game, understand what their game is and the angles that come with it. So I'm going to go to their Ivy League schools so that when it gets deep, I can pull paper. I punched my ticket. You can't sit here and say we're here because of affirmative action when we punched our tickets and we played the game. And I think people have to realize that no matter where you're going, whether it's a trade, whether it's a profession, you've got to know what tickets are required to get the respect to allow you to perform at the top of your game. Because, we are going to have to push back when we're pushed against and when we are looked at as less than, well, we know that we are not. So by getting this education, the one thing they cannot take away from, they can take a lot of stuff away from us, but the one thing they cannot take is what's between our ears, our education and knowledge. It doesn't matter what our situation. You've got brothers who are sitting in prisons. They've had everything stripped from them, but they can't take away that knowledge. So we have to educate ourselves. And that's, it's kind of their joke. It's, it's a meme that's on the internet, on social media. Every now and again, it'll come up and it'll tick me off because they'll say, oh, well, you can say anything you want to about them, whatever, because they don't read anything.
You get that highly thinking book, and again, books also really help with self-care, self-help, mental. When I don't read, I just feel like, hey kids, we gotta read up. And again, I think, because I'm dyslexic, so that's my learning disability. And so I have to, when most time I read a page, I typically read it twice to make sure you can read, but are you comprehending? That's how people, right? We have the information, but are we comprehending the importance of it? And sometimes it has to be reiterated to really say, and get a grasp of that.
And I mean, you're a perfect example that just because you have dyslexia or something else that might be getting in your way, that cannot be an excuse for not doing what you need to do to succeed. Is it easy for you to just pick up the book and read it? No, you have to read it twice to get that comprehension. You have to do that. You do it because you see the value in it, and look where you are. Look what you're doing. We make so many excuses for ourselves. How easy is it for you? You have to make the effort. What has that journey been like for you?
So when I was young, I come from my mom. My mom, as always, her name is Michelle. We always say Michelle kids. Michelle, her kids are perfect. So, and the doctor told her, like, but she was like, he's just gonna find himself. He could give me Michael Jackson song lyrics, but it was like, no, just because I could do that, I still have some things we need to kind of sort out. So my mother really didn't take that too seriously. When I got to college, I really struggled. And give you tutors, and it was like, this is not going to help. I need to go back to the foundation and really rebuild, because there's been some levels that I have missed. And in Chicago, they don't pass you the next grade, they're just going to deal with you. And I got suspended for 10 days, I think, when I was in 5th grade, because I told the teacher I wasn't learning. And she says, well, you want to just disrupt the class, just sit there. And I said, listen, if I'm not learning, ain't nobody learning. And I got suspended. It was really 3 days.
Yes.
And the principal wanted me to apologize for saying that. I was like, no. She's like, okay, 4 days. You sorry now? I said, nope, 5 days, and 10 days is the max that you can give a student. And so I was like, 10 days. And I was like, I will refuse to apologize because that's how I feel.
You were showing me where I'm wrong.
Right. And I was like, address the fact that I'm acting out because I'm not understanding it. So me and my brother, we did it wrong. We fought in school, we acted out. I have teachers to this day that tell me, like, we are very surprised to see the trajectory, because that wasn't like I said, my brother was gangbanging. Prison was going to be his new home. And I saw myself really not having my purpose really be fulfilled. Probably just, kicking the rocks and kind of hanging around, just figuring it out. But
so did you have a dream at that age? I mean,
yeah, my dream was always, yes, as a kid, we always did music. We come from a musical home. So that was pushed. Education wasn't really highlighted. It was like, we do music.
Yes.
That was our thing. I played the drums professionally. My mother sings, we do piano. If you grab 10 of us, 9 of us can sing, dance, play instruments. So I have a very talented family. So my mother just pushed what she knew.
Okay.
Now, she later on, last year, my mother got her bachelor's at 59 years old. So she later did end up going back to school. But growing up, it was just like, as long as y'all get a job, that was the standard. You just work. And then we was all like, well, I ain't have to work. We're going to be these big stars. And, everybody wanted to be the next Chris Brown, and it just never worked out that way.
Let's talk about that specifically, because I mean, there is still that mentality in the African American culture, in the young African American community. It's like, no, we're not going to go to school, and no, we don't need to get this job. I'm going to either be an internet millionaire, or I'm going to be Chris Brown, or I'm going to be the ball player, the this, the that. This many people make it through that hole and that needle. It's a small percentage. So what do you say to people who, that's their goal, that's their being all and end all, especially since not all of them are talented? What do you say to those people to motivate them to become more like you?
So I want them to be more, not necessarily more like me, but the best version of themselves. But I appreciate that compliment. I would say that, like you said, they say 1 million black people, 1 million black boys, and this was Jawanza Kajunfu's quote, want to be ball players.
Right.
By the time they're 10.
Right.
They say 500,000 will only play high school ball. And at 500,000, 100,000 will ask them to start. Out of that 100,000, only 50 will play college ball. Out of that 50, only 15 will start. Out of that 15, only 7 is getting drafted. So you got 1 million black boys chasing dream, only 7 don't have, right?
That's right.
Same thing with music. But we have to put accountability on those who are not the athletes, who are not the entertainers. What I mean by that is the gangster rapper, he's known for going back to his hood giving back.
Right.
Even if it's just a flex.
Yes.
The ball player, he'll give 100 balls to his old church.
Yeah.
But who we don't see is a lot of our MDs. We don't see them volunteering our PhDs and our anthropologists and different ones with these different careers. We don't see ourselves. We're just a disconnect between the middle class blacks and the upper middle class blacks who are not athletes and entertainers.
Right.
And I always say that if I take a picture of a room, the first person you're gonna look for in that picture is yourself.
Right.
And it lets you be looking down or looking at, retake it. You ain't gonna say, well, I don't like how I look supposed to. You're gonna be like, no. And if there's 20 of us, retake the picture, because I will not look crazy.
Yes.
Well, it's the same thing with our community. We have to start taking pictures and having imagery of us seeing ourselves. So I didn't connect, me being 6'4", 16, I see myself with athletes. Even though I wasn't really a ball player like that until I got a little older, I connected with them.
Yeah.
The Jacksons coming from Gary, 1-bedroom home, 11 people. The struggle stories we hear are always from entertainers and athletes. We don't see a lot of other careers sharing their experiences and showing us like, yeah, we need Michael Jackson, but we can also be Ben Carson.
Uh-huh.
And so I think what I would shout to people is not necessarily just to the audience to be inspired, but I want to encourage those of us who are successful in different realms to always say, if every black successful man adopts in terms of mentoring a black person who they could be older or younger, who is in a different lifestyle.
Yes.
We clean our streets up overnight.
Yes.
I mean, fools, these boys, this is a cry for help. They not just, nobody says, I want a girl who's just commit crime, got a little bit of criminal. No, it's survival. Some of our best men are in prison.
Yes.
I work for Catholic Charities, as I told you, for a living, and we let our shelter takes in 400 men a night. And I look at these men, I say, man, this is 400 brothers. Great deal of them look like us. And I'm like, man, these could be still potential, or these could have been doctors and lawyers and genealogists and professors. And it's like, wow.
How many of those that you take in when you talk to them, do you find that they are really bright and could be the next best leaders? I
mean, all of them, except for the ones who obviously there's some mental health issues.
Yeah.
So for them, those are the ones you're gonna have. That's gonna be little characters. They're gonna be like, I created the spaceship. Like, okay, my spaceship's outside. Well, let's go look at the spaceship. We go out there and just empty bus stop. Yeah. So some of those is a little like, but for the most part, those who don't necessarily struggle with those type of things,
Right.
all of them are bright. But you know what I see in all of them? I see a young boy, a 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 15-year-old, where they just wasn't challenged to dream.
Right.
You know, and that's because, again, from diet to wellness, everything, you're going to be what you saw. That's quote of like, you're not your environment. I always say it's just not true. You are your environment. What you see will shape you. Now, you don't have to be your environment. You don't have to stay your environment. But we can't just disregard growing up in a community. I grew up in a community that was very gang infested. Every other night it was a shooting or killing, or that was our norm. We came out here, it was a breath of fresh air to be able to see an environment that wasn't saturated with gangbanging, selling dope, pimping women. If that's what you see, that's your inspiration. But when you're shown something different, then it's easy to be something different. But if that's all you see, that's all you see. And the question falls back on our Black professionals. How many of y'all are going to these communities to show these youngsters? Because even with Career Day, what are the careers? Do they even still do Career Day?
Right.
So a lot of our community are not trying because we set the standard. We say things like, these get degrees. We say things like, not all of us is going to go to college, or books is not for everybody, or school's not for everybody, or
we undermine ourselves.
We are worst enemies sometimes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you set the bar low, you're going to aim. Like my wife knows, they have no choice but to succeed.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to be an entrepreneur. I'm making them, my stipulation is by the time you're 18 years old, you have a real estate license. So you come home, you start real estate, that's your summer job. But you will get your degree. Because you're getting your degree for your ancestors, you know, that was enslaved, that was told they couldn't read and write. So it's bigger. But we're also going to go to school, not to try to, in my opinion, try to compete or to get validated by white people. We going because we trying to nation build. I want you to have everything you can have from the networking, the societal things that it brings. It's more than just going to school. It's a networking experience. And we're going to take that information, just like with sports. Our kids play sports because you need to buy my house. Buy your own house. Have them play sports to get the principles that white children get. They don't go join basketball and try to buy my house. They go to learn discipline, teamwork, being structured, responsibilities. We got to start being able to extract the principles. You do the right thing, the money's going to come. Right. But this money hungry, chase the bag, I don't even say that. That's unhealthy. Talk about health and wellness. We're not chasing anything. To chase means it's running. Exactly. Right? I'm manifesting everything I want, whether it be affirmations, whether it be prayers, whether it be, me just in thought. So I'm not chasing. So we even got to be careful with the words we use. All of that.
Words are very powerful.
Words are powerful.
Words are very powerful, and they rewire the brain 100%. According to the meaning and the feeling behind those words. And we're telling you use the term, do you succeed? You're saying that it's okay to be mediocre. When you say it's okay to be mediocre, guess what you're going to be? Mediocre. Be mediocre when you can be your best. You don't have to be the best, but you should always try to be your best.
And I had a white counselor named Miss Williams. What was she do her first name? Las Vegas High School. She told me, we was talking about college, and she said the school I wanted to go to was predominantly white. She said, there's not a whole lot of people of color there. If you want to go somewhere else. And she's like, I'm looking at the transcripts, and it's kind of rough, but don't be discouraged because these also get degrees. I remember thinking to myself, what she have told a white kid that? Right. Even a white child didn't have my transcript. Right. These get degrees, really? Opposed to telling me like, hey, let's set up a success plan. Let's get an academic coach, a tutor. You better than this. I know these get degrees. Is you crazy? You're not gonna tell a white child these get degrees. So they push upon us. Yes. And then we take that. We know that we only believe it if white people tell us. Yes. So we have to do a better job in our community of, like you said, rewiring, because it's making us so sick. And that's why our communities look how they look, hell on earth, because we have completely set the standard and we don't have any expectations. And we say, well, we have this new thing of, I can say what I want, do it, I want, dress how I want, don't judge me. Right. It's about judging you, but that has to be a standard in our community. Right. You don't just get to disrespect our women, children, and elders in this community. You don't get to just not raise your children like, your homeboy's not raising his kids, we're not kicking it with you. Like, we putting a stop to that. You selling dope kind of people, we ostracizing you. Once we set them type of standards,
responsible.
that's what I'm saying. The game is gonna change. But as long as you make it, well, his baby mama, you be tripping. No. You got kids that don't have no guidance. And the baby mama, we got to charge you with the responsibility.
That's right.
Fatherhood, a hood is a covering. Neighborhood is a covering. The hood of a vehicle is a covering. So anything that has the word hood attached has to have a cover. Brotherhood is a cover. How you covering your neighborhood, brotherhood, fatherhood, and you're not stepping to your responsibilities. But again, we make excuses and we set the standard low. We don't give our people high expectations. And so I had a friend who told me, I don't believe in expectations. Because if you have expectations, you end up being disappointed. So that's a sad way to live. She got upset. That's probably why we friends today. And she got upset because I was like, I just agree with that. With her response. And I said, that's sad. And she was upset. Why do you say that? I said, because it's like almost like you're killing your hope.
Yes.
To believe the best in others. I have a right to expect people in my circle to treat me right. That's not asking for a lot.
No.
That's basic things. I have a right to believe the best in you and that you're going to give me your best. So I almost walk around like, I say, so you expect your boyfriend to cheat on you? No, but if he does, they don't know. You think you don't have expectations or anything. No, expect the best. Because that's what's happening with our community. They have these low standards.
Right.
And they say, this is a website I read all the time called blackdemographics.org. And it gives all these statistics supposed to be researched about our community. And it said that in terms of us empowering our community, when it comes to education, it's only 3/4. Actually, it's only 1/4 information.
Right.
And it's 3/4 empowerment.
Exactly.
Learn. Exactly. Anybody can tell you this is what you need to do. That's easy. The hard part is giving them the empowerment to believe they can do it.
Right.
Pumping them up, making them feel like they're on top of the world. Because when it comes to basketball, football, all that, coaches, they give you pizza, new shoes, and take the whole team out. But when I say, here's my report card, we're supposed to give you grades. Yeah, I'm not rewarding you for what you should be doing, but you need to. Because again, I don't have to be playing sports, but you give me trophies for that. So once we start making athletics be, or academics be just as important as athletics, then we're going to do better. And it's no different than what our diet, what we listen to, what we watch. Once we start promoting and making eating healthy positive, giving it the same attention we give the other things. And so let's do a commercial on a vegan restaurant. Let's do it. It's like the setup is just like, here's my vegan food. And the presentation be like, then you see McDonald's, welcome to McDonald's. Where step your game up, because again, if you want to compete, it needs to be appealing. Our people, we're sexy people. That's not me sexualizing, but in terms of we do things that are sexy and fly. It's no different than masonry, and I'm also a member of the Baptist fraternity, and people always ask me this, why don't you think a lot of youngsters become masons like that? And I said, because masonry is not sexy.
That's right.
We went black suits, aprons, white gloves. It's older organization.
Right.
But with Sigmas and the Qs and Kappas, we stroll in and doing our thing and jackets on. And some people are like, man, I don't care about community service.
I want to be cool like that.
I want the jacket. Even though that's one element. What you see, the shouldering, that's not basic. All of our groups stand on brotherhood, scholarship, service, sisterhood, things like that. But that's not what the world is showcased.
That's not.
When they see D9, they see getting hit with a paddle and hazing. They don't see all these orgs getting millions of dollars in scholarships every year, mentor kids every year. So I told
I'm Delta, and that's how I ended up
keeping that as a secret.
It was.
I thought you possibly could have been this already. I didn't know.
Come on, got my pearl.
My mom's sister was there. Come on.
I know. But that's how I got to Greek. I wasn't thinking about Greek or any of that. I was brought to Greek because the Deltas came and they said, we see you, little sister. We see what you're doing and about that scholarship that we're going to give you, because we want to see you rise in the community. We want to see you lead in the community. We want to see you provide service in the community. They didn't say, come over here to Delta because we're fly, which we are. We are fly.
Shameless plug.
But, it was that drew me. And, when people think about Greek, they don't think about the service.
No.
And the service is really the root of what it's all about. The core, the community of Greeks is about supporting the positive. You know?
Nor do they think about the countless people. We know our notables, right? We know the
Right.
ones, but not just those, but just local people who come from these organizations who've done great things.
Absolutely.
I may never get my name in the national, recognized as a national notable, but you talk to people in Las Vegas, they're gonna be like, Mr. So it's like, what about those individuals who are local, who are doing great things? And that's, again, but it goes back to exposing this to the greater community to say, hey, the Black middle class is literally was created by members of the Divine Nine or the Great Eight, what you call it. So that's what we want to showcase, and we want to encourage you. You want to be entrepreneur, be entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to college.
And if you want to work on a trade, because I think we minimize the value of trades. I don't think anybody's toes. I don't want to, be in the sewers or whatever. Plumbers make good money. Plumbers make more than most doctors do, Electricians make great money. The garbage man makes really good money. They have the great retirement plan. I mean, we have to normalize trades as a successful way to navigate life. We want to be doctors.
Contacts have been updated. To continue, review the updated items on your screen.
We want to be doctors or lawyers or entrepreneurs. And, women are going, I'm going to marry the garbage man.
Right. A woman literally just said that, was put on blast for saying, Yana said, did you marry a man that drove garbage trucks? She said, if he owns one,
Thank you.
But that's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
Of us not want to do people because the money doesn't match. And
Yeah,
so we're going to have a hold with that one. But I will say that I think that we just have to create balance.
Yes.
It don't have to be either or.
Yes, absolutely.
My children got no choice. I promise you. We're not going to school thing. Because from my own experience, I struggled.
Oh yeah.
Because of that.
Absolutely.
And so I just want them to just, and you graduate so young. Like, what's 22?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, it's like, what's 22? Even if you go to medical school, what's 32?
Exactly.
What is 32 when people are 60 on fixed incomes?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's elders tell me they get $1,100 a month. It's no way I'm gonna have that life. And I'm not judging, but I hear that and I'm like, yes, let's step it up.
Absolutely.
So I have a cleaning business that I work at night. And if I got to scrub toilets to save up the money I need to open up other businesses I'm going to open up, that's what I'll do.
That part, because we get stuck also in, folks will say, well, I have a job. That's nice that you have a job. Is your job getting you where you want to go? No, then pick up a second job, supplement it so that you have what you need to get to where you want to go. See where you want to go, set the goal, have a vision, and then do what you need to do to put the pieces in place. Work the extra job to get the money to get there. Reach out to the people who can be the resources, because part of it is, and I'm gonna say this because I think it's something that it was something that I was doing, but I didn't really understand my own process. I just gravitated towards the people who were in the places I want to be. But really, it isn't completely what you know. It is who you know. If the who you know have the things, have the education, have the experience, have the position that you want, that's where you should be. Those folks are going to be your mentors.
That's right.
Your boys, on the street, you may be cool, you may be sexy, you may be fly, but if your boys on the street aren't where you want to be, or your cute girlfriends, they're not heading in the direction that you want to go, guess what? You stay where you are, you're not going to get there. That's right. You've got to see what you want, and you've got to decide that you're willing to sacrifice what it takes to get there. And sometimes that sacrificing means sacrificing the cool and the sexy, because when you're on the other side and you've arrived and you're successful, there is nothing more sexy than a successful man.
100%.
There is nothing more sexy, so I'm told by the gentleman, there's nothing more sexy than a confident woman. And I'm sorry, if you haven't punched your tickets, done what you need to do to have your own self-respect, you can't be confident.
And I think too, that's why we have to start. That's why I'm such a historian, because I'll go with Vegas history. So back in 1913, this man moved here by the name of A.B. Mitchell. His name was Abraham Mitchell. Black people, when they first came to Las Vegas, they was only confined to downtown. They lived downtown. And he owned a ranch, which would be this area is called Paradise Valley, which is unincorporated Nevada, unincorporated county. So he had a ranch not far from over here, but he had property downtown. There was another man by the name of Jake Inslee. Him and his wife Donnie Inslee owned several cafes, things like that. So I've shared these with young people to get them to understand we have had people in our own backyard who've done things of significance. Not to mention on a national scale, Ida B. Wells, W. Du Bois, the Mary Bethune, the Annie Malone's, teaching them. One of my favorite people, he only been deceased since the 80s, but by the name of A.G. Gaston, who was the one that funded Dr. King, who allowed them to meet in his hotel in Birmingham at the A.G. Gaston Motel. And so it's like, look at what's been before you. We seen that we got to always reinvent the wheel. The blueprint, or as I call it, the black print, is already laid. Once we start believing that we deserve better, Robert Kiyosaki said it best. He said, what you have in the physical is a result of what you think in the mental.
Exactly.
If you don't believe you can have much, you're not going to strive for much.
Exactly.
If you saw this interview they did with these guys in Chicago on 20 years ago, she said, what are you going to do if you get 21? He was like, hopefully alive. And he meant that. And I went to school with cats like
I understand that.
And I remember going to school, like, my high school, literally my freshman year was like, think about all the TV, the movies of schools, like Lean on Me, Freedom Riders, what was the one, Gangsta Paradise with the theme song? Michelle Pfeiffer was in it with the principal. That one, the Ron Clark story, all these different movies of like the schools was my high school in one. I'm talking about Super Gang Bang. I used to go to school like, what is it? I always felt like I didn't fit in. Then I got twin brothers doing the complete opposite of me. Well, the gang bangs, these make so it's like I'm catching hell from things he's doing. And the moment my mother moved us to Las Vegas, not only did my brother change his behavior and did a complete 180, I was able to fully grow into who I was. So just an environment change.
What? Exactly that. This is not our genetic complement that we're gangbangers and that, we're living in this negativity. It is an environment influence. And speaking of the genetics, even if there is something that is your genetic proclivity, going back to that healthy lifestyle thing and even to the diet thing, we can change our genetic proclivity. The genes themselves are stable, but there are things called epigenes. They're like light switches for genes, and we can turn those on and off. And by changing that epigenetic influence, we can completely reverse the negativity that may be showing up in our genes. And the really cool thing about that is that if you're in that childbearing age, and you've got some, quote, bad genes, you do the work, you change the diet, you change the mindset, you change the physicality, you change those genes, turn on the epigenes or turn off the epigenes that put your gene profile into a more positive light. Your childhood, guess what you pass? Those turned on and turned off genes that are now in a good gene profile. So now your kids get that good gene profile. And within a couple of generations, you've changed the way your genetic profile looks. So we can do the things that put us in a place of power. From a health standpoint, we have the power to change who we are. We have the power to change who we are physically all by ourselves, personally. We have the power to change our families. We have the power to change our communities. We have the power to change the world, and we do not have to accept the crock of crap we've been given. That's right. And gentlemen like you who are activists in the community, who have a vision, and particularly someone like yourself who you came from a background that you didn't find acceptable. And you wanted to do different because you had a vision for something better and you made those choices. Not only did you make the choices for yourself, but you made the choices for your children. You're not going to be over there. You're going to go to school. You know, you're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to get this real estate degree, which I really appreciate that because that is somewhere where we fall short and where we screw up. You know, we buy homes. It's a small home. It's a modest home, but it's ours. Somebody dangles a dime and we sell it. Okay, now what are you going to do? Are you going to go buy something else? Oh, no, you can't buy something else because they dangle the dime at you, but now it costs $1. Now you have nothing. Now you're leasing and paying them and they're growing their life. We have to hold on to our property and we have to realize the value of that tangible because cars depreciate, you know, these clothes, they look cute in a minute, they're out of style. It doesn't matter how much you paid for them. And, you know, let's face it, what's sexy today may not be sexy tomorrow. You own property, it's always sexy. Sure. You know, you own land, you're a landowner. That always has value. It doesn't go out of style. So we have to do better with that. And we have to educate our children on wealth, not just money, but on wealth acquisitions. Health is one of those sources of wealth. Without your health, you are nothing. And you know, our motto is health is wealth. You are your greatest asset. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself physically. You know, right now, and I know I'm going to get pushback for this, but right now, big is in. You know, it's okay to be fit. We don't all come in skinny minis, you know. I'm not body shaming people who are overweight if you are thick. Obesity is neither sexy nor is it healthy. And you know, I don't care if you want to say, I'm fine, you know, I'm fine like I am, don't body shame me. If it's not healthy, then you know, if you're thick and you're healthy, Queen Latifah is a beautiful woman. She's thick. That woman is healthy, you know, and I think she's gorgeous. There are other people who are not thick, not thick. You're overweight. You are obese. That is not healthy. It's a strain on your heart. You know, it is a strain on every organ in your body. It's setting you up for diabetes. It's setting you up for heart disease. And for us in our community to say, oh, that's, you know, that's fine. Don't body shame. She all right. Yeah, girl, you know, you're sexy. We do ourselves a disservice.
And it goes back, Doctor, to the standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to just push loving ourselves,
Yep.
loving us enough to know you deserve better.
That's right.
You know, you deserve to, you know, and I'm dealing with, I've had so much, been to dentists with so many different elements of my teeth, losing teeth because of things I ate when I was younger,
Right.
candy I ate, and it's like, and I'm on the slimmer side, you know, but according to my weight matches my height, but I do know in some elements, I'm not as healthy as I can be.
Right.
And so I'm saying that as a skinnier person, it's like, what happens to a person who's bigger? And like you said, we're not body shaming, we're not fat shaming, but we want to encourage you that you need to do better.
I want you to be healthy.
Because at the end of the day, you don't want to get older, you know, and have these health issues, because they're going to come.
They are.
And my generation being 29, we're not cut from the cloth. This is my great grandmother ate like this, mama ate like this. Yeah, but
they didn't eat like that. The quality of the food was different.
Right.
And they were out working hard physically. They were walking, you know, they were catching a bus to go somewhere. Even if they had a car, they may be parking a long way away because they couldn't park in the same way place as the other folks.
And let's talk about, we talk about grandma was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
just, or grandma ate this. She's 89 years old, but grandma got Alzheimer's, right? That has that, and they're tracing that to diet and to
Okay.
alcohol.
Okay.
Granddaddy is deaf in his left ear and blind in his right eye. Is that really something celebrated? Yeah, he's 90, but he don't know where he at. Grandpa think he somewhere else. So it's like
Right.
the quality.
Mhm.
That's what we don't care about quantity. Happy 100th birthday, but granddaddy literally is sitting there like he don't know who we are.
Right.
And you look at other communities who are 100, and look at how white women is swimming.
Yeah.
100 years old. Asians look like they 50 when they 100.
I have my Asian story of embarrassment, because I'm reasonably young, I'm healthy, I'm fit, I'm a dancer, I'm healthy. I'm feeling a little full of myself because I'm so healthy.
All right now.
Now, I go to San Francisco. San Francisco, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but for those of you who don't know, they have hills like this. You're practically walking up a wall on some of these hills. So I'm at the bottom of the hill, and I got my cute little outfit on. I'm going up to the top of the Bear Mountain, and looking at this freaking hill, going, that's a big, long hill. I'm trying to talk myself into it. I start to walk up this hill, and I'm panting and puffing. This is work going up this hill. Why does this she had to be 90 if she was a day, Asian grandma, come pulling up beside me, and she halfway to ran up that hill. I'm looking at her going, I can't. I can't. I'm going to go get my car and park it on the other side. It's because that is what she knows. She probably goes up and down that hill several times a day. That level of fitness is a part of her everyday lifestyle.
It's a routine.
When a lot of the women, the men included, in the Asian populations, they sit in this squat. It's a tremendously healthy position. It opens up the pelvis, it stabilizes the back. And if you go to certain countries in Southeast Asia, the toilet is on the floor. It's kind of a hole, and you have to hit that squat to go. I'm thinking about our community. I was like, Lord, if half of our people had to squat over that hole,
we ain't gonna get back up.
Half of them would be peeing down their leg, but they would never get down in the first place. It's a matter of them in that fitness. It is something that they do on a regular basis that hones the pelvis. They're not peeing on themselves. They're not having incontinence issues.
That's right.
Because that pelvis is toned because of the squat.
That's right.
They're not having all of these back problems because they're not doing this, lean back, not using the back muscles to hold their back strong. We have to do better. We have to strengthen our bodies. We have to strengthen our minds. We have to strengthen our relationships with each other, the way that we communicate
That's right.
with each other.
I couldn't say that.
But you do, and I'm sure that every time you get into that pulpit, you say it really well. And I'm certain from just the short time we've spent together that the people in your congregation hear and receive it. And I want to ask you, because you were brought to me by my brother, and I love my brother. This is my baby brother, and he is here in the Vegas community as well. Community active. His kids are community active. He is acclaimed for bringing rap to the Vegas Bowl and for promoting rappers, for promoting youth, and for promoting folks like yourself who are community active, who are really movers and shakers and making changes in the community. How did you meet my brother?
So isn't he a firefighter?
He is a firefighter.
So I think I saw him at an event. I think he had his uniform on. And he spoke to me, and our city, whether it be law enforcement or medical or fire or rescue, it's like a minority. So especially firefighters, they stand out.
Right.
And so even though I'm terrified of fire. I'm a Scorpio, like waking up in a burning house. I'm not gonna die.
Right.
But I have such appreciation for firefighters and what they do and things of that nature. So we met that way.
Mhm.
But I met his son before, because his son used to come to my protests and
Which
things
son
like
are you
that.
talking about, Joseph?
Yes.
Yes, my nephew is very, very community active. as
Africa
well.
right now,
Yeah,
like-
he's currently in Africa, in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Helping them to build their community. He had some really neat projects going on. He's working with the government. So he's putting his money and his efforts where his mouth is.
And I had no idea that they were father and son.
Mhm.
That came later. Then I knew his daughter, that's a model,
Marissa, yes.
Marissa.
Uh-huh.
Then I come find out Marissa and Joe is brother and sister. It was just like all these weird connections, like what? You know, and they've been coming to my events since 2014. So for
Yeah.
years, you know. And then he was like, "Yeah, my kid was supporting me for years." You know, I was like, look at that. So that's how we met. And your brother is, you know, he definitely, when you talk about Las Vegas legends in terms of the music industry, and he's one of those early individuals who promoted music and tried to give other youngsters an opportunity. And so absolutely, so he's definitely known for that in terms outside of his profession. So that's how we connected. And he's just been supportive of my work, you know, ever since. And so, you know, what he does for a living and who he is, it makes me respect him even more. Because it's making hard to believe it. Everybody don't like me. I'm not gonna try and put it off. I just want to be liked on those different. But I've learned to just accept it. You know, I'm a truth teller, baby. I'm gonna tell everybody might say like TI is. You understand?
Absolutely.
I'm calling you out. White folks, black folks don't matter to me.
Absolutely.
But I'm not. But it's not malice. And
you know, white folks, black folks calling you out, whoever it is, we have to own our own ish too. You know, we really do. We want to call out the white folks for racism and for this and for that. But we have to be responsible
that's right.
for our own stuff.
That's right.
And a lot of the stuff that we're calling them out for, they don't even know. It's the wrong stuff.
I think I do a combo call out.
Mhm.
It's like a buy one get one half off.
There you go. There you go.
So I'm gonna call us out.
Uh-huh.
People say, "You're gonna stretch." You always blame white people, and I do,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not blaming individuals. My wife is biracial.
Right.
Biracial, like I'm the white mother-in-law. I have no issue with the average white person sitting down. I have an issue with white supremacy, right, and racism. That's my issue. So when I think white folk, I'm really speaking in terms of the collective white people that work against us systematically. The average person that's white, one of my best friends is white. I don't want to like the white person, like I have a white friend. I ain't that dude, but I have a white homegirl that's just like, and she's regular white. She ain't like trying to be a wigger, like she's a white girl. And she understands where I'm coming from. It's not malice, it's not any of that. I'm not anti-white, I'm pro-black.
Yes.
But I tell them, look at the history, because I get called prejudice all the time.
Mhm.
I say, how am I prejudiced? I'm telling the truth. It's not prejudice to say we was robbed, stole, kidnapped. It's true. It's not prejudice that y'all redlining, Jim Crow, put different bogus laws, black holes. It's true. It's not prejudice to say from the time of 1905, 1916, over a million of us was lynched. That's not prejudice. That's true. I'm not just making stuff up. I'm talking about what has happened to us. And they say, well, let the past be the past. The past can only be the past if it is disconnected from the present. The past affects our present.
Say that again. I mean, I like the way you said that, and that's so significantly correct. Say that again.
The past can only be the past when it's disconnected from the present. Our past is directly related to the present. Connected. I mean, even when you look at, they talked about what the average family will probably have in terms of income, those who are descendants of those who own businesses in Greenwood, in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. And they projected like so many families would have, and they did a study based upon what the family, like, so example, the Williams family owned Dreamland Theater in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Did a research to see, okay, how successful was that theater? It was the only theater at that time, you know, and they did a pricing of how much it cost and what the dollar was then, what it be today. Mm-hmm. And it came almost to like possibly like $1 million inheritance of what that family would have. Mm-hmm. How do you not get upset about stuff like that? Right. And then you look at families, you know, who own slaves, and you see how they benefited. And when I started really digging, it was really a business. They had their slaves on insurance plans. Like they was insured and they were able to finance them through the bank. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, all these banks are products of slavery systems. So it's like, come on, they say no matter how hard we work as a collective, it'll take us over 100 years to catch up, and if not further in what we are today. So to me,
Do you think
Mhm.
that if they give us reparations,
all right, you go with our word.
is that going to be the thing that levels the playing field?
Nobody to help.
Yes.
You know,
Okay.
I'm pro reparations.
Yeah.
I'm working on trying to get reparations commission to Nevada.
Yes.
I think that because they say like, well, if we got reparations today, I don't care what they look like. Pay me my money.
Right.
Period. We can talk about
And
that some of the time.
why is that important that they pay us their money? Because I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if they give us our 40 acres and a mule, our reparations, it isn't going to take us that far down the line, but reparations is important. Why is reparations important?
Reparations is about restitution.
That part.
It's the behavior changing with the apology, right? I can tell my father, long as start hitting you. But if I'm still aggressive and still flinching at her and still showing, she's gonna be like, yeah, well, she probably gonna leave me off the way head. Get a father to put hands on me. But that's why I didn't hit you, baby. I ain't gonna hit you, baby. But the apology has to come with change behavior. So yeah, they did Juneteenth, and you got, the white Congress on the one knee with kente cloth, which was a mockery. It's like, listen, y'all giving us these it's these symbols,
Yeah.
but what about the substances? And my take on it, reparations not just financial.
Exactly.
I'm tired of paying $90 a month with Ancestry.com. Why am I paying to find information y'all broke up?
That's right.
Every Black person gets free Ancestry. Every Black person gets free college tuition. That's what I mean. Because you can give us $1 million check, but that doesn't cover other things that was taken from us. So with the reparations, I'm trying to open the conversation up for us to understand. It's a mockery to assume you're just gonna give us a check. No.
Yes.
Like, our biggest thing I want to see is that we need our health taken care of. It's the main people who walk around uninsured. So let's deal with that.
Let's start there.
Slavery broke, so we talk about health and wellness.
Let's
Slavery
start there.
broke our health and wellness.
Yes.
And not just slavery. We can go down to Jim Crow, us not having the best doctors and the best medical providers. Sometimes we had to open up our own hospitals and we had limited resources.
And
so
even with more resources today, and I mean, I'm case in point, I'm a physician and I went into a medical facility and got treated like a redheaded stepchild and ended up at the end of the day having to go to another facility to get good health care. We hear about Black people who go in with real pain, with real problems, and they're turned away. Our infant mortality rate is ridiculous, but we have all of this great health care right now. All of that has to be addressed.
So I would like to see every Black person, over 18, would be under here, go to the trust. Every Black person who is a descendant of American slaves, this soil, get $1 million. $1 million each. You can break it up. This first, how you gonna do it? Our person won't. Just give me half. Give me my 500,000 wow, and I'll touch the other 5 momentarily. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blow that money like I ain't blew money before. But I'm gonna buy things that's gonna be beneficial. I'm opening a barbershop, like I'm opening a restaurant, like I'm gonna flip it. And so it's not just going. So some people say, we give us money, we're gonna be the brokest rate. Maybe so, but that's their inheritance. It's no different than if I take Marvin Gaye's song, What's Going On, and I sample it without permission. His family's gonna sue me. And they did Robin Thicke for like $2.7 million. And one time, if I say, they're not gonna say, well, we're not gonna, just like I said, I'm not gonna give you $1 million because you just gonna go ahead and blow the money as Marvin Gaye doing. It don't matter.
Yes.
You use my father's record without permission. I'm an heir, pay me my bread. It's no different. And so that's why I try to push as a genealogist, because California loophole with the stuff they're trying to do is only gonna get money if you can prove you're a descendant of slaves.
Right.
Well, my family, we traced our family back to 1810.
Yes.
And so I know every descendant I have on my mother's maternal side who have been enslaved. So give me my check.
We have our documentation. Hand me my check.
Ain't no hold up for me.
Yeah.
Again, 500,000 now, I'll get the next letter.
I think too, you know, that the reparations are important for us. I think we have to take accountability for the success when we get those reparations. Because if we do hand our people the money, most of us are going to blow it because we haven't had the financial education. So it is on those of us who do have the financial education in our community, make sure the others get educated, to make sure that we are able to grow that wealth. You know, we are not going to get there based on just those reparations alone, but those reparations should be the seed money that help us to get there.
And it makes me think like, will we blow it? Right? Because $1 million is going to give you access to a different type of thinking. It's not, because if that's the case, then why do you have so many rappers who got millions of dollars years ago who are still rich?
Well, we have just as many though who blown it, and you know,
Right.
many ball players who have blown it
Right.
because they just weren't given the education and the handling. So we want to make sure that everybody that gets those assets gets that education and handling. And if you blow it after that,
Yeah,
that's on you.
honestly, Doc, I'm like, the reality is, we can't say everybody. Everybody ain't going. So,
Right.
not to say don't attempt,
Right.
but it's like they can't use that to weaponize why we're not getting the money.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
So it's like,
absolutely.
that ain't my problem. That's my problem. That ain't my problem. Give me my money. I'm fighting on behalf of Kizzy, Oliver, Carrie, Letitia, Nick.
Right.
Give me my bread. Period.
Absolutely.
And we can go from there some other time. But I agree with that. And I also tell too, here's where the accountability with us comes in. We can pull from there's enough black churches to give us reparations in terms of us building our community. So we got to also pull within.
Yes.
Not to say we sit here begging because we entitled, but they ain't gave us the check yet. We're gonna keep waiting on it, or we're gonna go out and do for us. We keep waiting to do for
that part.
And so that's what it is. So I'm not gonna. I want the reparations, but in the meantime, between time, we got to organize within our own community and be mindful of how we spend. We have all the spending power. And we
can't let that be our excuse. Well, they haven't given our reparations and they've taken all of this away from us. It's kind of like I told my children, I was like, I'm responsible for you until you turn 18. As long as your head is under my roof, I'm responsible for you. Good job, bad job, whatever kind of job I did, once you walk out that door at 18, guess whose responsibility it becomes, you know? It becomes yours to create the life that you want. The same thing with the reparations. Yes, we want our reparations. Yes, we deserve our reparations. However, the lack of those reparations is not our excuse for not writing. You know, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have resources, you know, pull from the resources we have and create the lives that we want. And the first thing that we have to do to create that is to learn to respect and love ourselves. Because that's, I think, the biggest problem I see in our community, that we don't respect and love ourselves. As soon as we begin to do that,
it's gonna change.
And as soon as we begin to communicate with each other in a positive, effective way, we've got community. And from there, we can build. So, is there any one thing that you would like to say to the Vegas community and to the community at large, because this goes all over the world, in this Black History Month, to empower our people and to empower people throughout the world?
Yeah, so I'll close, with this. It's so important that as we celebrate this Black History Month, we understand what's at stake. Because eventually, if we don't take what we're doing seriously, we're gonna become extinct. In terms of being extinct. And so we need to encourage ourselves to, number one, know our worth and know what you deserve and know your value. But that comes doing an assessment. As you know, as a doctor, before a doctor does anything, you gotta, let's get MRI, CAT scan, you're gonna assess. Let's get some blood work, we're gonna see what's going on. You're going to diagnose the situation first. So we know most of our condition has been diagnosed. So now what we're gonna do about change it?
Yes.
First things first is we need to encourage people to read.
Yes.
Audiobooks is cool. but the information is in the book. It's the power of flipping those pages. And our community really struggles with grammar. Can't tell me times people post, we get the theirs confused and just simple things, basic punctuations, run on sentence like it's like we don't even care.
And that punctuation can affect the meaning of the sentence in a very big way.
100%. So our knowledge affects our communication. So we need to encourage people to read and take power in reading and start gaining some type of knowledge of self. All I do is watch and read books that empower our people, take the information to try to apply it. See, once you have knowledge of self, you have love of self. But you can't love what you don't know. So you must first know yourself. Once you know yourself, now as Minister Stretch, I now can love Brother John.
That's right.
And so not only do I love others, but I want for them, but I want for myself. And see, in the word brother is the word other. Your brother is the other version of yourself. And we know the Black woman is the mother of civilization. And so in the word mother is also the word other. So if the brother and other is my brother and the mother is my sister, then we're going to treat each other like that. Because you're the mother of civilization and you my brother. So now I don't see you as B-I-T-C-H or H-O-E or N-I-G-G-A. I view you as human. I view you as the other version of me. It's hard to rape, kill, and steal the other version of me. It's hard to put down, beat up, and knock down the other version of me. So now I'm going to empower you, encourage you. I've never been a player hater because I'm so in love with me. Matter of fact, I get accused of being arrogant. I'm just confident. I love me. I know I'm him, but at the same time, you can be him too.
That's right.
So I'm never going to put your light out, but I'm also not going to tuck mine so you can shine either. That's what they call PP. It's personal problem. Love yourself, and we're going to get along just fine. But I'm allergic to low self-esteem. But I will do my best to try to empower you. And it goes back when they say in church, the Bible says, come as you are. Nowhere in scripture does it say that, by the way. That's a man-made term. So, okay, you can come as you are, but you don't stay where you are, right? You want to wear leggings and a do-rag and all this in church, but when you go to the club, you bust down.
That's right.
So it ain't because you ain't got it. It's because you don't care.
That's right.
Do better.
That's
and
right.
It's okay to say that. Well, you judge. You darn right I'm judging. Because we need to start judging each other to say, I'm not judging you to put you down. I'm never going to just tell you no and I'll give you a better option, a better way to do it. I'm not calling you out, as I said. I'm using that phrase, but I'm calling you up. I'm calling you higher. And you should be able to tell and decipher when a person is really invested into you.
Yes.
So I want our community to know that I love them as Minister Stretch, and we need to, again, begin to love each other and clean up our communities, clean up our act in a non-judgmental way, in a loving way. Stop using terms like tough love. Love is not tough. There's only one way to love. And the Bible talks about what love is. Love is kind, love is patient, love is enduring, love is, not boastful, love is not consistent in its own way. So love has been defined.
Yes.
But love don't mean enabling your bad behavior.
That's right.
No, I don't have to let you come stay in my home and you're in active addiction and put you around my children. I'm sorry you're out there, but that's not love. That doesn't help you, that hurts you. I understand that, you and your baby mama don't get along, but you shouldn't beat her up. So no, I cannot be your homeboy until you get your situation together. I will help you, I will give you therapy, I'll put you in the right direction. But love don't mean accepting just BS.
That's right.
And then we get accused, you think you're brand new, or you think you're better. I am better. I'm not better than you. I'm better than that behavior.
That's right.
I'm not better than you as an individual. I'm no better than you. I'm no bigger than you. But what you're doing is beneath me. I cannot stoop that low to think like that. I cannot jeopardize my character, my integrity, my morals, and my values.
Integrity.
It's not doing that. And we lose in that. We lose character. You hear our dear sister, Dora Monique, talk about for 10 years. Brothers tell her this ain't the white man game, but it's the money game. What she say? Well, we lost the integrity game. We're about the money game.
Right.
Not all money is, how much money I turned
Not
down.
all money is good money.
Because they want a black activist. Again, I've been the face of Black Las Vegas activism for 10 years, one of the faces at least. They always will come get me to try to be the spokesperson, but it's like you want me to sketch and batch. You want me to and hembone. I'm not doing that. I'm not hemboning. I'm not sketching and fetching. And so they know Minister Stretch, don't scratch me, don't itch. I don't laugh at it ain't funny or a good joke. I'm not going to dance, ain't no good music. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I'm okay with missing money. I'm okay with missing opportunity because I know one thing. The God I serve, what's for me is for me. And I'm going to be blessed in the end. So Bernie Mac said it best. When you do the right thing, the money's going to come. Again, ain't no chasing the bag and chasing and gotta get the bag and money over everything. We so money minded. What about character minded? What about integrity minded? Treat people right, do people right, and all good things be added unto you. So that's how I try to treat everybody. But you're not just gonna get away with just mistreating me. Again, you will get stopped at the gate. You do not pass go. No, you collect $200. But I understand where we are, and I'm patient because we are damaged goods. I'm damaged goods. No matter what, we all damaged. We all have things that's in us
Yes.
that we have to work out. We all have vices and flaws, things, but we need to stop making excuses that we can't do better.
Yes.
It was not our choice that our culture was taken from us, but it is our choice to go back and get it.
That's
It was
right.
not our choice that they took our business, but it is our choice to start new businesses.
That's
It was
right.
not our choice that they ran out and petrified our leaders and took the mail from home, but it is our choice for Black men to come back to our homes and stay in our homes. And whether you are in your children's home or not, you are still a father. That does not give you a license to not raise your children. We got to get back to being responsible and stepping up to the plate. But I'm not going to let the hidden hand off the hook.
That's right.
Because we didn't just remove ourselves. We was removed. So it's a balance. It's also holding us to the fire, but not allowing others to get off the hook for what they've done to us. And I think if we do that, we're going to be just fine.
Well stated. Well
Thank
stated. I thank you so much for joining us, and especially during this Black History Month. And I think that one of the most important things that we can do in terms of elevating ourselves is knowing our history, learning our history. It's on our history that we build. Our ancestors made a way for us. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And we need for our children to become ours. So we have to create that. We have to positively influence our children. And we have to hold our children accountable. But before we hold our children accountable, we have to hold ourselves accountable. And we have to hold our communities accountable. And our communities are only as strong as we are. We have to make the choice to be strong, no matter what happened back there. Today you're 18, you're a grown man, you're a grown woman. Make your way. The world's your oyster, the world is ours. So on that note, you have been listening to Chatters That Matters. I am here with Minister Stretch Sanders in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a shout out to my talent manager, Ricky Aaron, who is here in Vegas this week. And a shout out to my producer, Hisham El-Mati, Hurricane H. He is not with us here, but he will be producing this piece. And we love him. We love all of your support. Thank you all for watching this show, for supporting us, following us. We ask you to like. We ask you to send us messages, tell us what you heard, what you liked, what you didn't like. Hopefully we didn't step on too many toes, but we just had to tell it like it is, because we want to see our community succeed. We want to see each one of you succeed. We want you to share these pieces. Minister, how can people reach you if you're a great speaker, if you need a speaker, if you're a community activist, if you need someone to help you uplift your community, to show you the way, ministers here. How do we get in touch with you? And where is your church, sir?
So my church is on the historic west side, Greater Evergreen Missionary Baptist Church, 1915 Lexington Street, Sunday service from 10 to 11. I'm not the head pastor. My head pastor is Dr. Walter Smith III. I am one of his associate ministers. And my office is the streets. I'm not hard to find. It's Minister Stretch Sanders on all platforms, to do Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Reach out to me because I want to work with you. You want to work with me. At the end of the day, I want to see how people succeed and be the best version of themselves.
And the man is 16. It's going to be hard to miss, okay? So
on top of the fact that I'm very handsome. So that doesn't
there you go. So again, thank you for supporting us and watching the show. Minister Stretch's information will be, as always, on our platform. If you need to reach him and you can't find him for whatever reason, then for certain, be sure to reach out to us and we will help you to make those connections. And remember that our show is here to educate, inform, and entertain you. We are here every Monday and Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we hope that you will continue to join and support us. Thank you for being with us. Have a great week, and you are listening to Chatters That Matter. Your show host, Dr. Cheryl BryantBruce MD, the Celebrity Doc.